Welcome to the European Association for Higher Education Advancement's YouTube and podcast channel. Today,
this is exciting.
it is. Today we are going to be taking a deep dive into
Dives.
into something that could make all the difference for you in college
Absolutely.
and even beyond. Networking for career success.
Such an important topic.
We're going to be breaking down an article from, well, the source itself, the EEEA. It's called The Importance of Networking for College Students.
And I have to say, you couldn't ask for a more credible source, right? I mean,
Right.
the EAA, they set quality standards for universities internationally, so they really have like a front row seat to what helps students stand out, what helps them succeed.
They see it all.
They see it all.
They know what works.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's jump right in. I think a lot of people, when they hear networking, they kind of, their minds go to like awkward career fairs
Oh.
or like trying to collect 1 million business cards. But this article kind of really changes,
It flips the script.
what networking truly means.
It does. The article starts with, this definition of networking
Right.
as building relationships to help you achieve your career goals. But you know what the emphasis is, right?
What's the emphasis?
Genuine relationships, not just like adding names to a list.
That's such a good point because, I think we've all been there where you just kind of,
You feel like you have to.
you feel like you have to like collect business cards.
Exactly.
But it's not really about that.
It's not about that at all. It's about building relationships, right? So they're actually valuable.
That's huge. It's not just who you know. It's like cultivating those connections so they actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
So why is this especially important for college students? Like, shouldn't we just be focusing on, actually going to class?
Yeah. I mean, of course, academics are like the foundation,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But imagine this, okay? So the article cites a study that found 70% of jobs, get this, 70% are found through networking.
Oh, wow.
That's a game changer.
So you're basically like building your future career while you're still in school.
That's exactly it. You're getting a head start.
70%. That's wild. So it's not just about getting that first job. It's also about opening up, I guess, opportunities that we wouldn't even know about otherwise.
I love how you put that.
This article, it dug into some benefits that really stood out to me.
Oh, yeah. Which ones?
The first one was insight.
Insight. Yeah.
That networking can be like,
I love this analogy.
like test driving a bunch of different career paths before you actually like commit.
It's like a sneak peek.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Imagine like talking to someone who actually like lives the day-to-day of your dream job. You're getting the real scoop, not just what's
Not the brochure.
not the brochure.
Exactly.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense, right? It's like getting insider knowledge even before you start applying for internships or jobs.
100%.
What other benefits did the EAA highlight?
Okay, well, the next one is probably like what most people think of first, right? Yeah.
Which is job hunting.
The obvious one.
The obvious one. We've talked about how most jobs are actually found through networking, but like it goes deeper than that.
Tag here.
Deeper. Because your network, think of it as like your
inside scoop.
Yeah. They can give you a heads up about openings that aren't even advertised.
What?
Yeah. Or like help you stand out from like a mountain of resumes.
So it's like having a personal recommendation, which is like gold in a competitive job market.
Oh, yeah. It's huge.
Okay, so I'm starting to see how valuable this can be even before you graduate.
It starts early.
Mm-hmm.
The benefits keep going even after you land that first job. So the EACGO talks about how networking helps you advance your career. Think of it as staying in the loop.
In the loop about what?
About everything. Trends, new technologies, job openings, maybe at like higher levels.
So you're saying it's not just a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process.
Yeah, you got to stay connected.
That can benefit us throughout our entire careers.
That's like a support system for your whole career journey.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, so we've established, I think, that networking is really essential, like even more than we might have initially thought. But how do we actually go about it effectively?
Well, the good news is the EAA gives us 5 actionable tips.
5. Okay.
And I got to say, they really get into the details, which is super helpful.
Awesome. Let's dive into those tips then. What's the first one?
All right. So tip number 1 is all about being intentional. Don't wait till your senior year when,
When the pressure's on.
the pressure's on. Yeah. To start building your network. Begin early
Okay.
and make like conscious choices about who you connect with and why.
So it's not just showing up to every networking event. It's like being smart
And
about
strategic. Yeah,
choosing the ones that like align with your interests and your goals.
exactly. Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. Makes sense.
Okay, so that brings us to tip number 2, which is being prepared. And I don't just mean like having your resume all updated, although that's important too.
Yeah, you got to have that.
But it's really about knowing, what you want to get out of your networking interactions.
So before you even like walk into an event,
Mm-hmm.
you should already know like what you're hoping to learn or achieve.
Exactly. Think about it. Are you looking for like insights into a specific industry?
Ooh, okay.
Do you want to connect with people who work at like your dream company,
Mhm.
figure out those goals, and then you can like tailor your approach accordingly?
Okay, so like have a strategy going in,
Exactly.
which makes it feel honestly a little less intimidating.
Way less intimidating.
Okay, so preparation that extends to like how you present yourself.
That's
Like have an elevator pitch ready.
Yes. Have a way to introduce yourself.
Okay.
That's concise, that's engaging,
Yeah.
and it highlights your skills and your aspirations.
So you need to be ready to talk about yourself in a way that, captures attention.
Yeah. And leaves a good impression.
A good impression.
Practice it. Practice your pitch, tailor it to different situations, but you should be able to like confidently articulate your value.
I love that. Confidently articulate your value.
Yeah.
Okay, so be intentional, be prepared. What's the next tip?
All right. So this one might seem obvious, but it's often overlooked. Follow up.
Ooh, follow up.
After you meet someone new, you got to take the time to send like a thoughtful thank you note.
I'll admit sometimes I let follow-up slip through the cracks.
It happens.
But I can see how it's important. Like you're showing the person you actually
value their time.
value the connection.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be anything like super fancy, right?
Right.
A simple email, express your gratitude, mention something specific you learned from the conversation. It shows you were actually listening.
You were present.
You were present. You're serious about like actually building that relationship.
Okay, that's a good tip. I'm going to start like writing down, making notes, to follow up after any networking interaction. Okay, so what's next on the EHEA's list?
Okay, this one's all about leveraging online tools, specifically LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, the social media platform everyone like loves to hate, but secretly knows is actually super important.
Oh, yeah. It's essential.
Okay.
LinkedIn can be like a goldmine for networking, but only
if you use it strategically.
if you use it strategically.
Right.
Don't just create a profile and like forget about it.
Leave it to collect dust.
Yeah, exactly. Actively engage with people. Join groups that are relevant to you. Participate in discussions.
So it's about being present, contributing to the conversation,
Yeah.
not just passively scrolling.
Yeah. The more active you are, the more visibility you'll get.
Makes sense.
More opportunities to connect with people who could be like mentors or even future employers.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to step up my LinkedIn game for sure. Now for the fifth and final tip. The EAEEA really emphasizes being authentic. This seems like a super crucial one, but also kind of tricky.
It is. I mean, authenticity is like at the heart of networking, right?
Right.
Because people can spot a phony a mile away.
Yeah.
You got to be yourself. Be genuinely interested in other people.
Okay.
Focus on building those real relationships, not just, collecting contacts. But we'll dive a bit deeper into that one next time because there's a lot to unpack there.
I'm intrigued. Let's take a closer look at what being authentic actually means,
Mm-hmm.
like in the context of networking.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where I think a lot of students, myself included, can get tripped up. So we were just talking about how important it is to be authentic
Mm-hmm.
when you're networking. And it sounds
great.
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 In theory, but I think it's helpful to break down like, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, what does it actually mean in practice?
Right. Because it's easy to say, just be yourself.
Right. But what does that even mean?
Especially in like
when you're in
a professional setting.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, should I be cracking jokes at a career fair?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But I think a good way to think about it is like authenticity is bringing your genuine self to the table,
okay.
but still being mindful of the context.
Right.
It's like showing genuine interest in the people you're talking to. So ask thoughtful questions, listen actively, and respond authentically.
So it's not about like putting on a facade or trying to be someone you're not.
No.
It's about actually being present and engaged.
100%. And people can tell when you're not really interested in what they have to say.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that brings us back to tip number 2, right?
Okay.
Being prepared.
Okay.
Because when you've taken the time to like research the people you're meeting
Yeah.
or the event you're going to,
Right.
you naturally are going to have like more genuine questions and insights to share.
So the preparation actually can make you more authentic
It can.
because you're not like scrambling
Yeah.
to think of things to say.
You're not putting on an act.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
And this also kind of connects to following up authentically, right?
absolutely.
Like instead of sending just a generic thank you,
Yeah.
you actually mentioned something specific
Mhm.
that you like resonated with
Exactly.
from the conversation.
Yeah, something you learned about their field, maybe
Yeah.
a piece of advice that they shared.
Yeah. Like you were actually listening.
You were there.
It takes it from like a formality to like an actual connection.
I love that. It's all about those small, genuine touches that show you're not just going through the motions.
Okay, so I'm starting to get like a clearer picture of what, authentic networking really looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still kind of like struggling with one thing. How do you balance like being authentic
Right.
with also presenting yourself professionally?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Because like I don't want to like overshare
Right.
or come across as like unprofessional,
Yeah.
but I also don't want to feel like I'm, putting on a mask.
That's a great question. It's a balance, right? It's finding that sweet spot between like professionalism and personality. And you can definitely
Thus-
showcase your unique skills and experiences
Mhm.
without oversharing like personal details.
So it's about like choosing
Right.
what parts
Yeah.
to highlight.
Yeah, like what makes you stand out? What
Uh-huh.
skills and passions do you bring to the table? And don't be afraid to like let your personality shine through,
Okay.
but in a way that's like appropriate for the setting.
Right. So it's like that distinction, like I can be my authentic self, but I still have to maintain like a professional demeanor.
Exactly.
Okay. And you mentioned that authenticity is also about
Oh yeah,
being honest
like being upfront.
about your goals
Okay.
and what you're hoping to achieve. Because people
Yeah.
actually appreciate that transparency.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm like at a networking event
Mm-hmm.
and I'm genuinely interested in like learning more about a company or industry,
Yes,
it's okay to just like express that.
absolutely. People are usually happy to share like their experiences and their insights. Just be respectful of their time, you know?
Right.
Make sure you're not like monopolizing the conversation.
Right. It's about like striking a balance
Balance, that's the key word.
between being authentic, professional, and respectful.
Yeah. And I think the more you practice,
Yeah.
the more comfortable you'll become.
It's like any skill.
It is.
The more you do it,
Yeah.
the better you get at it.
The more natural it becomes. And as
Yeah.
you build your network, you'll find your own authentic style.
Okay. I'm feeling a lot more confident about this whole authenticity thing.
Great.
But before we move on,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something you said about LinkedIn.
Okay.
You mentioned that it's important to be like active and engaged, but I think a lot of students, myself included, struggle with like, where do you even start?
That's a great point. I think of LinkedIn as like your online professional portfolio.
Okay.
It should showcase your skills, experience, and interests,
hmm
but in a way that's both compelling and authentic.
So it's more than just like a resume. It's
Yeah.
like your chance to like tell your professional story.
Exactly. Use the summary section to highlight your key skills and accomplishments.
I do
And the
that.
experience section, you can go into more detail about, previous roles and projects.
So make sure it's updated,
Yeah.
showcases your best qualities.
Yes.
But what about like engaging with other people?
Yes.
What are some practical ways to do that?
Oh, there's so many ways to connect and engage on LinkedIn. Start by connecting with people you already know.
Okay, so classmates, professors, people you've met.
Exactly. Alumni, people you've met at networking events.
Right. Building on your existing connections.
Right. And then once you've established that base network, start expanding it by joining groups related to your field.
Okay.
Because those groups are great for staying up to date on trends,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with professionals,
Okay.
even participate in discussions
So you can learn and network at the same time.
at the same time.
Awesome.
And don't be afraid to share your own insights too.
Yeah.
Comment on posts, share articles that you found interesting, start conversations.
So like being active on LinkedIn isn't just about like looking for jobs.
Right?
It's about like actually building relationships,
It is.
establishing yourself as like I guess,
Like a thought leader
a thought leader
in your field.
in your field. Okay, so LinkedIn's a powerful tool,
Powerful.
but it's just one tool.
One tool. Don't forget the in-person stuff.
Right.
You got to attend industry events, meet people for coffee, take advantage of opportunities to connect face-to-face.
Okay, so it's about that balance.
Balance. Online and offline.
Online and offline.
Okay.
I'm feeling a lot more strategic about LinkedIn now. But before we move on, I kind of want to touch on something that's been on my mind this whole conversation. We've talked a lot about like the practical side of networking, the tips, the strategies. But networking can be
It can be.
emotionally challenging
It can be tough.
for a lot of people, myself included.
Absolutely. And especially, I think, for people who aren't, like, naturally extroverted
Right.
or comfortable putting themselves out there.
Yeah, it can feel awkward, intimidating,
It can.
even a little phony sometimes.
Totally. And I think it's so important to, like, acknowledge those feelings
Mm-hmm.
and not beat yourself up for it.
Yeah, it's okay to feel a little uncomfortable
Yeah.
or unsure of yourself.
Everyone starts somewhere. It's a learning process.
That's a learning curve.
Yeah.
So it's not about like pretending that those anxieties aren't there.
No.
It's about like acknowledging them
Yeah.
and being like, okay,
Yeah.
how do I work through these?
Because you're not alone in feeling this
Mhm.
way. A lot of people find networking challenging,
Right.
but there are strategies you can use to, like, manage those anxieties.
Okay, I want to hear them. What are some ways that I can make networking feel less daunting?
Okay, first and foremost, be kind to yourself. Okay?
Okay.
Don't expect to be like a networking pro overnight.
Right.
It takes time.
Right.
Practice.
Like set realistic expectations.
Realistic.
Celebrate the small victory.
Yes. And remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay.
Focus on building those genuine connections over time rather than like trying to collect as many business cards as possible.
Okay, so take the pressure off.
Take the pressure off. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, like break down your goals into smaller steps.
Okay.
Maybe start by attending like one industry event per month
Okay.
or like connecting with one new person on LinkedIn each week.
Okay. That's a good tip because it makes it feel less daunting
Less daunting.
and more achievable.
More achievable. And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Talk to your friends,
Mhm.
your family, your career counselors
Right.
about your anxieties.
They can offer support.
Support and guidance. And sometimes just talking about it
Just talking about it.
can make a world of difference.
Yeah.
And remember, there are resources available on campus and online that provide tips and strategies for managing those anxieties. So don't hesitate to reach out for help.
Don't be afraid to ask for
Don't
help.
be afraid.
Okay. I'm feeling a lot more empowered about this whole networking thing.
Good.
But I do have one last question.
Okay, shoot.
It's been lingering in my mind.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about like the career benefits of networking,
Yeah.
but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on like the broader, more personal
Oh, I love that.
impact of building a strong network.
That's such an important question because I'm so passionate about this. Networking is about so much more than just your career.
Uh-huh.
It's about building relationships, connecting with others, expanding your circle of support.
It's like fostering those genuine connections
Yes.
that enrich our lives
In so many ways.
in so many ways.
And they can introduce you to new ideas and perspectives, even opportunities. They can provide support during challenging times. They can just make life more enjoyable.
So it's not just about what you can get
No.
from your network.
Right.
It's about what you can give.
It is.
Yeah.
Networking is a two-way street.
Hmm.
It's about giving as much as you receive.
I love that.
And when you approach it with that, like, spirit of generosity, the rewards are tenfold.
I love that analogy. It's like a ripple effect, right? It's like the more you give, the more you receive, the stronger it becomes.
I love that. It all starts with that first step,
That willingness to reach out.
to reach out and connect.
Okay, so let's encourage our listeners to take that step
Yes.
today. What's one small thing that they could do today to start building their network?
That's a great question. It could be as simple as, like, sending a message to someone you admire on LinkedIn, joining an online community
Yeah.
that's related to your field.
Or attending a virtual event,
Yes.
reaching out to an alum.
All those things.
So many possibilities.
Endless.
The important thing is to just start.
That's
Start
it, somewhere.
somewhere.
And remember, it's not about being perfect.
Yeah,
It's about being
genuine.
genuine.
So embrace those imperfections, be yourself, and connect with others from a place of authenticity.
Yes.
And then just like watch as your network grows and blossoms into this source of support and inspiration
Amazing.
opportunity.
Amazing what can happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from like those practical tips to the deeper meaning,
The why.
the why behind networking.
It's been a great conversation.
It has been. And I really hope our listeners feel empowered
Me too.
to go out and start building their own networks.
Remember, the power of connection is there.
It's there. It's waiting for you.
It's within your grasp.
And it just hit me as we're wrapping up that the EHA itself is like a perfect example of what we've been talking about.
Oh, how so?
Well, they're not just like this accrediting body. They're an actual network
yes.
of professionals who are all passionate about higher education.
They walk the walk.
Yeah, like their website, their social media, it's not just for show.
Right.
They're active hubs for connection.
Totally. You've got their members area with like exclusive content. They're always doing webinars, conferences. It's all about keeping people in higher ed talking to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even if you're not like a university president or something,
Right.
anyone who's interested in any part of higher ed, connecting with the EHA is like a smart move.
It's a no-brainer.
It is. And this brings up something we haven't really talked about directly, which is that networking isn't just for like job seekers.
Oh, that's such a good point.
It's valuable at any stage of your career,
Yeah.
even if you're like totally happy where you are right now.
100%.
I guess we tend to think of it as like very goal-oriented.
I need a job. I got a network.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I need this internship, I need to go network.
Right.
But you're saying it's more about like the ongoing exchange of knowledge and ideas.
It's like the more connections you have, the richer your understanding of the world becomes.
Ooh, I like that.
You're exposed to different perspectives. You learn things you wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe those connections lead to collaborations,
Yeah.
Or like opportunities down the road that you can't even imagine yet.
It's like constantly expanding your horizons,
Yes.
both personally and professionally, just by being connected
To interesting people.
to interesting people. I love that.
And it brings us back to like being authentic. Because when you approach networking from a place of like genuine curiosity, a desire to just learn and connect, it stops feeling so like transactional.
Right. It's not a chore.
It becomes fun.
Right.
It should be enjoyable.
So it's not about like using people to get ahead.
No.
It's about actually building those relationships.
Yeah. Based on respect,
Yeah.
shared passion for whatever field you're in.
And when you come at it with that mindset, like the benefits just kind of naturally follow.
They do. You get that support system, you gain those insights, you open yourself up to possibilities.
You wouldn't have even thought of otherwise.
Exactly.
That's a perfect note to end on. So much good stuff in this EAE article.
It's jam-packed.
I feel like I leveled up my networking game just by talking through it with you.
Well, the pleasure was all mine.
All right, listeners, the most important step is that first one.
Get started.
What's one action you will take this week to start building your network?
That's your homework.
That's your homework. Don't just let this information fade away. Take action.
Make it happen.
Huge thanks to the European Association for Higher Education Advancement for this awesome article. Please don't forget to follow the European Association for Higher Education Advancement on YouTube and social media.